It's Shel from Paper Rock 2 Studio, and today I'm sharing with you a collaboration that I did with another creative crew member from Canvas Corp Brands named Linda Svendsen. And she made a video using the same inspiration photo as I did and also using Canvas Corp brand products. The link to her video is right up there in the corner on the right hand side and also in the description box below where it says see more. So be sure to go and check out her video as well. I decided to do paper piecing collage, which is something that you know if you watch my channel that I do a lot. And I'm using different pieces of paper and scraps that I have from Canvas Corp Brands. They make a lot of printed papers in a lot of different weights. I have a couple of the lighter weight ones here from the Gypsy Moments collection and the Maritime collection. These are both double-sided papers that have a design on either side, so that gives you a lot more options, and those are from paper pads that you can get from Canvas Corp. Well, 7 Gypsies brand. Canvas Corp Brands has 3 brands. They have the Canvas Corp, which makes things like aprons and home decor items and bags and things like that out of canvas and burlap and things like that. Then they have 7 Gypsies, which makes a lot of different printed papers and printed cardstocks and things like that. Then they have Tattered Angels, which is their paint collections, a lot of different mists and paints that they make. So it's a big company with a lot of products, and I'll be sure to link the products that I used below so that you can go and check out their shop. So I decided to, the inspiration that you saw was an apple. Some apples, lots of apples. So I decided to make kind of a pastoral scene of a apple tree. So I drew out my design on an 8x10 canvas board. It's not like a deep canvas, like 1 or 2 inch deep canvas. It's a board. Canvas Corp Brand sells really nice canvases, and they are ungessoed, which is an interesting thing to work on. So you might want to check those out, and they have them in all different sizes. But this isn't from them. This is just a cheapy one from a Michael's Value Pack or Amazon Value Pack or something. I use these particularly if I'm going to mail something to someone because they're great because they're flat. So it's a good thing to do any type of collage on, paper piecing or collage or paper painting like I call it. You know what I'm talking about. It's great for that. So I am using the different papers and I drew my picture first onto the canvas using a mechanical drafting pencil with a 2B, that's a soft graphite. And then I used some deli paper to go over it and make my patterns to make sure that I didn't lose my drawing. I knew I would need to have different paper pieces. That's why it's called paper piecing. So I drew several different patterns onto deli paper. The reason I like to do that on deli paper is because it's very thin, so I can literally I can glue the pattern right onto the paper, cut it out, glue it onto the board, and you will never know that deli paper's in there. It's very thin. It's like tissue paper, except for it's stronger because it has some sort of a coating on it, which is to make it to wrap food, so I'm assuming it's like a wax coating or something like that, but the wax doesn't really affect anything. So that's what I always use to do my paper piecing and paper painting. So as you can see, I made a few of my little hill patterns. I did forget one, so you'll see what I did with that. And I'm just cutting out different pieces from different papers. And that's literally all I'm doing, is just cutting out different pieces from different papers on this whole project. I love doing this. This is relaxing to me. It's very zen. So I have sped up this video, obviously. The whole project took me about 2 hours by the time I did the whole little bits and pieces. This is the piece that I forgot to make a pattern, so I'm just winging it, which is fine. That's something you can do too. And that is from one of their, that paper and the polka dotted papers are from one of their mix and match pads, which I really like. They are pads that have not only some cardstock weight papers that are printed, but also printed canvas and burlap and corrugated paper. You get a lot of variety to do mixed media in one of those pads. So that one is the watering can one, I believe. And I'll be sure to link it below. I have to go look it all up. You know how that is. So then I just continue to do this. This is one of the double-sided papers that is from the Seven Gypsies. And on this case, the paper that I had, which is a 6x6, wasn't big enough for my whole little pattern, so I'm just piecing it onto the deli paper and gluing it down. I'm using Liquitex matte gel medium, which is my favorite for doing this type of project. But if the piece isn't big enough, then you can just piece it onto the deli paper and then cut it out and put it on. So that's why I like to make my patterns on a deli paper. So once all that background paper is glued down, then I'm going to use this little scrap from that mix and match pad to cut out some scallop circles to make a little sunshine in my scene. I thought that it needed to be sunny on my apples so that they could grow ripe. So I just made kind of like a little donut and then the centerpiece as well to kind of represent the sunshine. And this is one of my favorite papers. It's the pinstripe. I like the pinstripe a lot, and it comes in different colors, not just yellow. It's pretty cool. I like stripes. I like polka dots too. So then I'm going to make my tree shape out of this black polka dot. And the way that I'm going to do that is, again, just glue my paper right onto the deli paper so that my pattern is nice and stuck to the back side of it, and I can just cut it out. Super easy. Easy to do. You can do this with scraps. You can, put all types of little different pieces of scraps to represent paint if you want. That time I just did an entire piece. So now I'm cutting out just by hand. I'm not fussing. I'm not making drawings. I'm just freehanding, cutting out little leaves from the two green papers, and then this red piece, I'm cutting out apples. Just freehanding them. Simple and easy. And then, of course, I'm going to fussy cut that whole tree. That took a minute, so I cut a lot of that out. And then I'm just going to glue this down using the same Liquitex matte gel medium on top of my background. And then you have a scene. Got some nice rolling hills in the background and a nice apple tree in the foreground. This reminds me of folk art, kind of a primitive, I don't know, something that you would hang in your kitchen maybe. And to finish this off, I did actually put some of the Canvas Corp Brands red jute twine and a couple of their little wooden clothespins that they sell. They have them in all different colors of clothespins, but I just used kind of the stained brown ones, and they're little teeny tiny ones, and I put a knot and then put the little clips, and then I hot glued the two clips up in the corners and then tied it into a bow at the top for hanging. So I think that really finished it off. I didn't show that in the video, but you'll see it in the pictures at the end. It turned out really cute, and I think it would look great in a kitchen. It would be great home decor for a kitchen. Especially if you have if you like that country primitive style. Although the papers that I used are very graphic, so not really as primitive as you might see, but you get the idea. That's what I was going for, and I thought that the apples should be in a tree instead of on a table. Although I do love to eat apples, especially caramel apples, and it is caramel apple season, people. We should all go get some caramel at the store, melted, and dip some apples, because that is so tasty. So then for my little background trees that I decided to put in the background to add depth and distance in my composition, I just, again, cut those freestyle with my scissors. I didn't draw or anything like that. And I'm using the same, I'm just using the pieces left over. In some cases, the back side of the piece that I used, it might be more brown on the back side than it is on the front to make the trunk. You know what I'm saying? So that was pretty fun. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment so they know that you're here. Subscribe if you haven't already, because I do make videos pretty much every other day. So there's a lot of videos coming out, and you probably don't want to miss one if you are a fan. That's why you subscribe, and then you turn on the notifications, and then it tells you if I post a video. And share it if you want to. That's always cool as well. And of course, don't forget to go watch Linda Svendsen's video. She's very creative. She's out of the box creative. So I haven't actually seen her video when I've made this one, but I know it will be super creative because that's how she is. So once everything is glued together, letting that dry a little bit first, and then I will come back and put a black border. This is ivory black, so it's kind of a brownish black acrylic paint, and I'm just putting that around the edges just to finish the edge of the board because it's very white, and also it kind of gives a frame for my whole piece. And I'm just using a cosmetic sponge and acrylic paint to do that. I wanted it to be, you know, durable and not run if wet or anything like that. So if you were to hang it in the bathroom, it would last. Although the board might kind of warp. I don't know. I'll probably have to seal it before I hang it anywhere. I'll just use a spray sealer on it. Okay, so once that whole frame is all nice and done, then I decided to use some of the baseboard mists to finish this up. You know, I tend to be an illustrator, and I like to put lines around things. I like line definition. I don't know why. So this baseboard mist is like the glimmer mist that you might already be familiar with. It's a sprayable paint. Basically, it's like a watercolor. It's water soluble, and in the case of the baseboard, it doesn't have any mica in it, so it's not shimmery at all. It's the flat version of the glimmer mist. You may have never heard of it because a lot of people use glimmer mist, but I don't see very many people using the baseboard. So it gives you an idea of what it looks like. So I'm just using it as a watercolor, like a liquid watercolor, and I just poured some on my palette, and then I'm using a brush with some water and going around all my elements and kind of blending out, in some cases, the little lines with water, and just adding definition to my composition because I like the way that looks. I can't stop myself from putting lines around everything. Maybe someday I'll stop. I don't know, but I don't know when it's going to be. I think this makes all my different elements stand out because I did use the same color papers in a lot of the different places, which makes everything cohesive because you're getting the same color and pattern in different areas of the composition, which is a good thing. But then sometimes it just looks like you look at it and it's just flat. It looks all the same. So by adding the watercolor definition around everything, it makes each individual image pop out. I did not outline the sunshine or the two different pieces of paper that I used for the sky, though. I left those flat, but I outlined the tree, the apples, the leaves, the little trees, and the hills. Just using a fine brush. So I'm happy with that. Then I decide that the apples need to be a little bit redder because they are blending into that one piece of the hill down there and it's bothering me. So I get out another of the baseboard paints. This one's red red something. I don't know. It's obviously red, people. I'll be sure to link it below. I don't know what it is. And I just am going over each apple with the brush, but just making it heavier on one side and then kind of lighter on the other by blotting with my little towel there. So that adds kind of like a rounded shape to each apple because it has a highlight and a shadow. Pretty happy with that. And I'm done, except for I did decide to add some splatters using a little bit of titanium white high flow paint because I like splatters. I just like them. They make me happy. So I did finish it with the twine and the clothespins, and here comes your close-ups. That's it for me. Thanks. Bye-bye.